they feel invincible. It seems like to us, from our perspective, it feels like the criminals have control.
People living in parts of eastern Jefferson County say they are frustrated with LMPD's no pursuit policy after some neighborhoods have had theft after theft. What police are saying about their response and why this is looking like a citywide crime problem. An update this morning to a story we broke on Wave News Sunrise. An Indiana daycare worker now arrested, charged in the death of a young boy. Why her lawyers are saying police played a part in the baby's death. And a school in Hardin County remembers one of their own after their band director was killed in a car crash. The impact they say she had on the school and her students, that's coming up on Wave News Sunrise.
Now, Wave News Sunrise.
Good Thursday morning to you. I'm Shannon Kogan with meteorologist Tawana Andrew. The sun is starting to come up this morning. And if you want to do any exercise outside, probably best to get it in early today.
Yeah, because otherwise you'll be sweating a lot more than you think you will. And not just from the exercise. I want to make sure that I clarify that. We're going to be in the mid to upper 80s for later on today. So really starting to warm up. But the warmth doesn't last forever. But we're seeing this in our SkyTrack camera. Looking from Jeffersonville off towards the east. Gorgeous start to the day. Also, if you look off into the distance, you can see some of the clouds still associated with the front that is now pushing further and further out of our region. So here are some of those clouds off towards the south, and we're watching for some areas of patchy fog this morning. Now, for many of you, it is patchy and light. We're seeing that fog stretching from portions of Meade and Hardin County all the way through Nelson County, up into Franklin County, and back into a good chunk of southern Indiana. So a lot of us impacted by this fog. Thankfully, it's not widespread and dense, but it's something that many of us are going to have to contend with as we get closer to 7, 8 o'clock. It's going to start to mix out, and by the afternoon, we'll be just fine. We are starting off the day pretty warm across most of our region, still seeing a lot of these upper 60s and low 70s across wave country. But once you get into the afternoon, as I mentioned, going to be talking about highs returning to the 80s for later on today. So starting off with that fog, clear skies and sunshine towards lunch, and then adding in a few clouds for later on this afternoon with that front moving through, and it's that secondary front that's going to help to usher in that cooler air for tomorrow. All the way, also, by the way, that humidity not as high as we head into this afternoon because of that front that moved through earlier this morning. So some frizz, but nothing as crazy as what we dealt with yesterday, Olivia.
Oh, good news, because I need some more hairspray. Thanks, Tawana. Hey, taking a look at traffic this morning, we can see the sun starting to come up, but still headlights being used. Make sure you flip those on this morning. Sun's not up just enough yet to not turn those headlights on. 64 Floyd County cameras not really showing up this morning, but good news, no traffic there, nothing to keep an eye out for. But you can see 65 at the Snyder. Looks like we have a semi pulled over there on the shoulder. They still have their headlights on, so hopefully they'll clear that out soon. And it doesn't look like it's slowing anything down. Whew, you can even see that car marked there on our map. But everything else looking pretty good. Only a couple other stalled vehicles out there. One on 64, one on the Watterson. Shannon.
Thanks, Olivia. Louisville neighborhoods repeatedly targeted with what appears to be organized thefts. And residents say they're frustrated. And police trying to pursue say their hands are tied. Security cameras capturing these brazen thieves and what appears to be organized thefts. In many cases, it is the same streets being targeted over and over. The most recent break-ins happening in Norton Commons just days ago. Neighbors say they're frustrated, and some have even put up signs like this saying, "Criminals welcome. Take what you want. The police can't chase you." Or this one, Mayor Greenberg, "Let the police help." They say police need to do more. This is security footage showing a group of men who appear to be armed. They're trying to get in the back door of a house in Norton Commons. Homeowners say this has become routine. The thieves are mainly looking to steal also from unlocked cars. In the nearby neighborhood of Glen Oaks, we spoke to a couple. Their daughter's car was stolen right from their driveway, and they say another car was stolen from that same street 2 weeks later. People in both neighborhoods say they've been told by LMPD the no pursuit policy makes it difficult. Under that policy, LMPD can't pursue a vehicle unless the person has committed a violent felony.
We've talked to so many police officers. Every one of them have the same thing to say. we're doing all we can, but we really can't do anything.
So the whole thing of like keep your doors locked, your keys away from the car, it doesn't matter. We had security, we have cameras leaving the neighborhood, we have rings, we have spotlights, we have everything. It doesn't matter.
LMPD says their 8th Division is aware of the uptick in break-ins, and they focus patrols in that area. Police are again telling people lock their car doors and take other safety precautions too. But thefts and burglaries are a problem that impacts nearly every part of our area. So you see this map here with all of these dots. This shows all the crime reports in just the last month. So if you look closely, the gray dots are all the vehicle burglaries. The purple ones, those are home burglaries. The brown dots are thefts, and then the green dots are vehicle thefts. You can see clusters in every part of the greater Louisville area. Some areas outside of the metro are also being targeted. We showed you how law enforcement in Bullitt and Spencer counties have been telling people about a spike in break-ins. Officers there telling people to lock their cars, lock their homes to prevent thefts. And businesses also being hit. Here's security video showing 2 people going up to cars and taking them right off the Bachman Chevrolet lot on Bluegrass Parkway. A 2024 Corvette, a 2019 Camaro, and a 2021 Silverado. They were all taken. Police eventually recovered the Corvette and the Camaro. Officers also recovered another Corvette recently reported stolen while looking for the cars. Jeffersontown police are looking for a person of interest in this case, though. They want to question Abu Baker Ahmed in connection to the thefts. If you know where he could be, call Jeffersontown police. 2 people are dead and 1 in critical condition after 2 separate crashes on Preston Highway just hours apart. The first happened yesterday afternoon around 3:45 at the intersection of Preston and Old Preston Highway near the Priceless Food Mart. Hillview police say 2 cars hit each other there and 2 people died. Another was taken to the hospital. Investigators are trying to figure out what caused that crash, but they are saying during these summer months with more travel, slow down. The names of the people killed have not yet been released. About 90 minutes later, though, LMPD got reports about another crash involving a motorcycle. Investigators say a motorcycle and car collided at the intersection of Preston Highway and Union Avenue, and the motorcycle driver is in critical condition at U of L Hospital. The driver of the car stayed on the scene. LMPD says no charges are expected. A lawyer for a woman charged with assaulting a baby who then later died wants an investigation into police actions as they responded to that scene. 6-month-old Eris Edmondson died in 2022 after being found unresponsive at a home-based daycare in Jeffersonville. Brittany Baylor, who was running that daycare, is charged with aggravated battery and neglect of a dependent. Edmondson's cause of death is listed as a head injury after an assault. The medical examiner described his injuries as consistent with falling out of a 2nd-story window. Baylor's lawyers claim an officer dropped the baby, though, while trying to save his life. Prosecutors say they're confident enough, though, to move forward with charges against Baylor.
But it is clear from the probable cause affidavit that the only documented injury that can be directly linked to somebody was after Miss Baylor called 911 and arranged for first responders to come and try to help the deceased child.
You know, as a prosecutor, that's why we do this job, to get justice for people who have been wronged, who have been injured, and with children especially. There's no one to speak for them or to help them.
Baylor pleaded not guilty to both charges in court. A judge set her bond at $1 million.
I would love to have a whole family come back.
With young college daughters?
If that's what you heard, then that's it. But it's a joke.
Do you think that's appropriate?
I don't think it's inappropriate.
A Nelson County prosecutor says text messages being used to try and get him thrown off a murder case were just jokes. The lawyers of a man charged with murder say the messages prove Commonwealth's attorney Terry Gayhagen could show racial prejudice during his upcoming trial. Now, a judge has reviewed that request to remove him, along with his own request to dismiss allegations. Andrew Toogood is charged with complicity to murder for the shooting death of 20-year-old George Riney at BJ Steakhouse in 2021. In a set of messages, Gay Hagen appears to be discussing a Hispanic man getting deported. Gay Hagen's message says he would like to trade him for a Hispanic family to come live on his farm with beautiful college-age daughters. Gay Hagen said this message and others filed an offense motion were jokes. But Two Good's family says he won't get a fair trial with Gay Hagen prosecuting. Gay Hagen says the comments are being taken too seriously.
And I'll admit it was a bad joke, but it had nothing to do with racism, because I was basically saying if there was one person that was going to get deported, I would love to have a whole family come back to Kentucky and have a job from the border.
I think that's very racist. I think you shouldn't say that, especially if you're on the against party or with them or not.
So the judge denied that request to take Gay Hagen off the case. They said the reason why, because the messages were not directed on Two Good's case. The family of a 14-year-old found dead in Silver Creek now saying they hope this tragedy will lead to change. Andre Edwards Jr.'s parents say they want to see the Silver Creek Dam removed. On Memorial Day, New Albany police say Edwards drowned after he went under the water near the dam and then never resurfaced. The Indiana Department of Natural Resources says the dam can create powerful currents that can trap people underwater. Some advocates have tried to get the dam removed for years, but they've been blocked by the city of New Albany.
The mayor needs to be held accountable. It was his fault. He's to blame. I mean, and there's obviously nothing that he could say or do that's going to make it any better.
Edwards' family saying that they want the dam to be removed, and they also want a permanent memorial to honor their son. Here's Tawana taking a look at the next 12 hours today.
And over the next 12, we're going to see temperatures climbing all the way into the 80s for your highs. But for those of you who are not a fan of the heat, I'll let you know when we're going to see only 70s across the region for highs after the break.
Now, Wave News.
Pickleball fans, I know there are a lot of you out there. You can play in a fun tournament this weekend and help a great cause at the same time. Josh Ninke is live at the Good Bounce Pickleball Yard. So do you have to be good to be a part of this, or no?
You do not have to be good at all. We've been learning some of the basics here. I've only played a few times, so getting a bit of an education this morning. Got Christy with Veland, one of the sponsors, joining us here, as well as Marky with Kozair for Kids. Christy, I know that there's, Shannon was just asking if folks need to be experts when they come out here, and I know they don't. There's some very cool things going on to help people, right?
Right. So if you are late to the pickleball craze, like myself, who recently just got a set on Mother's Day, you are still highly encouraged to come out here 3:30 to 5:30. There will be a clinic, open session, so you don't need to register. Just show up, and they'll let you get on the court and help you play.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And Marky, there's also some very cool stuff going on with a few local celebrities. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have Peyton Siva, you have Eric Wood. We have a couple of local newscasters. The Chief of Police, Chief of Fire, Brian O'Neill, will be out here playing with us from 1 to 3 during the VIP showcase. And a lot of those people will be playing against our top sponsor, Veland. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be a really good competition to watch. And then right after that, like she said, open play. It's going to be a blast.
Now, are any of them seasoned pickleball pros? Do we know at this point? Or are we
we have gotten word that a lot of them are not. So there's a couple that are very competitive. So it might be a little lopsided on a couple of games. We have a lot of beginners in that VIP showcase, but we have received a few bios that say like bronze award winner at the country club and things like that. So they've been playing a while. So we'll see.
As far as anybody else who wants to come out to play in this, it's 8 in the morning till 8 at night on Saturday. What else do they need to know to come out and participate?
So it's kozair.org/pickle. It's $50 a player. It is from 8 to 8, but the sessions are shorter. So if you're signing up for women's doubles, the sessions are 2.5 hours. Men's doubles, you don't have to be out here for 12 hours. There's also a family fun fest going on. There's a petting zoo. There's going to be face painting, food trucks, snow cone trucks, all that stuff. So it's a good time for the family, or if you're just looking to come out to play pickleball.
Fantastic. And you see some of the fun going on here behind us. This is just a sample of what you can enjoy coming up this Saturday. Of course, we'll have all that information for you at wave3.com. Live at Good Bounce Pickleball Yard. Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Thank you, Josh. So I played a couple times, but I need to know the rules. Something about you have to be in the kitchen.
But you're supposed to say out of the kitchen.
Oh, out of the kitchen? I forget. Well, I feel like I'm always in the kitchen, so maybe that's why I said it that way.
That's the only rule that I know. That's the only
Stay out of the kitchen. Okay.
So, hey, both of us, we'll figure it out eventually. We'll figure it out eventually. For those of you heading out this morning, we're seeing some clouds off into the distance. Some of you dealing with a little bit of fog. Clear skies overhead for a lot of us now that this front is out of the region. But with the clearing skies, we are seeing some of that patchy light fog, especially in those spots that saw some heavier rain yesterday and also near those bodies of water. This is where we're dealing with some of that fog this morning, so please take it slow as you're heading out. The rain is long gone. The front continuing to march further and further to the southeast before we have to deal with another cold front moving in for later on this afternoon. Temperatures right now in the upper 60s and the low 70s across our region, so a warm start to the day. It is quite muggy out there as well. Now, as we continue throughout the rest of the day, going to start off with those areas of patchy fog. Plenty of sunshine for all of us as we head into the afternoon. Now, that front dips in for later on this afternoon. As it does so, we could see a couple of stray downpours here and there. Temperatures climbing into the 80s. Most of us, by the way, dry, quiet for today. Once we head into tonight, still talking about those clear skies as temperatures fall down into the 50s across the region. Here is your 10-day and what we have going on. I'm going to step out of the way so you can see the full thing. For tomorrow, cooler, and even seeing some more of that cooler weather through portions of the weekend. But then the heat starts to really ramp up once we get towards the end of next week. Let's talk about the cooler weather for tomorrow first. Plenty of sunshine. Now, behind the front that moves through later on today is going to usher in that cooler, less humid air, leaving behind some pleasant temperatures for those of you heading to the Racing Louisville game for tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. as they take on the Houston Dash. Keep in mind, you're going to be seeing temperatures initially near that 80-degree mark, and then will fall through the 70s as the evening wears on. Basically expecting the same forecast. For those of you maybe checking out WWE SmackDown at the KFC Yum Center, both, I think, will be a good time, no matter which one you are going to. Now, on Saturday, here's when we'll see more clouds overhead because of a system moving into the region. But for most of Saturday, it's looking like we'll have just the clouds overhead, dry conditions, that is, until Saturday night into Sunday morning. This is when another front races in, bringing some more of those showers into our region, but not a lot of moisture with this, so we'll watch to see how much rain we can get from the system. But by the time we reach Sunday afternoon, a lot of us will be drier with more sunshine. Highs for Saturday and Sunday mainly sitting in the 70s. Still in those 70s on Monday before we rebound into the 80s towards the end of next week, and potentially we can even see some lower 90s trying to show up in the forecast. Definitely something that we'll have to watch as we get closer and closer to the official start of summer.
Here's a look at the current Kentucky Lottery jackpots. The Kentucky Lottery, over $5 billion in grants and scholarships.
They're here. The two koalas from the San Diego area are now here in Louisville. They arrived at Louisville's International Airport. 2-year-old Daruk and 4-year-old Telui. They're not on exhibit yet, though. They're in quarantine for the next 30 days, but when that is over, you can go meet them at the Louisville Zoo in the Glacier Run exhibit. And I've been fascinated with koalas this morning, Tawana. I've been Googling everything about them. They sleep up to 20 hours a day.
I would love to live that life.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yes. Your goal is to be a koala.
That is a very good goal, I think. A good nap would really help a lot of us out, right? For those of you heading out for today, though, because you can't always nap when you want to, we are going to see more sunshine as we head throughout the rest of the day with highs in the 80s. Tomorrow, cooler, upper 70s, low 80s for your highs. And keeping highs mainly in the 70s over the weekend as we keep an eye on some extra clouds overhead and the chance for some showers late Saturday into early on your Sunday. Now, next week, right now looking pretty quiet, but the heat will be on by next Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We could see those highs back into the upper 80s and even some low 90s. So, Shannon, may I visit your pool? I'm just going to ask now.
Of course. course. You're always welcome. Day 4 of Hunter Biden's federal gun trial is expected to have more cross-examination. The jury heard testimony from his ex-wife and a former girlfriend about his drug use yesterday. The prosecution is trying to prove the president's son knowingly lied on a federal form when he bought a gun in 2018. The man who sold Biden the gun also took the stand. The revolver Biden purchased was then shown to the jury. That gun store employee will take the stand again this morning when court resumes. Senate Republicans blocked legislation aimed at protecting access to contraception, with the Right to Contraception Act failing 51-39. The legislation would have established nationwide rights for people to be able to get and use contraception and protect healthcare providers who offer it. Top Republicans blasted the vote as a partisan stunt. Democrats say they won't rest until vital reproductive protections are enshrined into law. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer also announced this week Democrats will introduce a bill in the coming weeks to protect in vitro fertilization. It's 6:25, and the new Commissioner of Juvenile Justice sitting down with lawmakers as the department continues to face scrutiny. What he said during that hearing coming up on Wave News Sunrise.
With breaking news happening now, this is a Wave News Alert.
Let's get right to that Wave News Alert this morning. LMPD on the scene of a shooting in Louisville. Olivia has details from police in this Wave News Alert.
Shannon, LMPD tells us this is a domestic situation and everyone involved is accounted for. This call came in just before 5 o'clock this morning to the 4200 block of South 5th Street in the Wyandotte neighborhood. Police believe there was some kind of physical altercation and ended with a man shot. The man initially left the scene, but LMPD later caught up with him and took him to U of L Hospital. He was alert and conscious. Officers are speaking to a person of interest, but no arrests have been made at this time. Shannon.
Olivia, thank you. All right, good Thursday morning to you. If you're heading out soon, have to watch out for a little patchy fog in the area.
Yeah, some of us dealing with some fog and others seeing some beautiful sunshine. I want to show this sunrise right now because boy is it pretty. There we go. We are seeing the sun now up over the horizon, and hey, it is going to be a gorgeous day, but some of us still dealing with some of that patchy fog, but it's just that patchy. Not everyone is seeing it, but we are seeing visibility a little bit lower for those of you from Clark County all the way towards Lebanon, so please be careful. The clouds, for those of you further to the south, continuing to clear out. That's contributing to some of that patchy fog we are dealing with. Temperatures right now in those upper 60s, low 70s across the region. As we head into the afternoon, watch temperatures gradually climbing into the 80s for your high. So even though we did have that cold front move through this morning, we are not talking about any of that cooler air just yet coming into the region. Still talking mid to upper 80s for today. The other thing that we'll have to watch that's going to be on the higher side for today all the way into the weekend will be those pollen counts. If you're allergic to any grasses, once again, we're dealing with that long stretch of seeing very high pollen counts across our region, and that's something that looks to stick with us all the way into next week as well. So this is going to be a long stretch of some sneezy, itchy weather that a lot of us has to deal with, Olivia.
Good news, I have some allergy medicine now in my purse, so anyone at the station who needs it, I got you covered. Hey, taking a look at traffic this morning. Doesn't look like we have any issues out there right now, just one stalled vehicle on 65. And if you see our Metro traffic cameras, ooh, look at that nice orange sunrise there on 71 Ed Soren Avenue. All of our speeds are looking fantastic. Apparently on our map didn't update this, but we still do have that semi-truck that's stalled there on the shoulder of I-65 at the Snyder. So keep an eye out for that. But everything else looking good this morning. Shannon.
Thanks, Olivia. Students in Hardin County remembering a beloved band director. 28-year-old Kelsey Dunn died in a car crash Tuesday afternoon. She was the director of bands at North Hardin High School. Her students say that she loved music almost as much as she loved them. They say every day she encouraged people to be better and their unique skill sets to focus on those, and her influence went far beyond the classroom.
She just made you want to be a better person because she was always trying to be a better person.
I think as a parent, that's all you could want out of a teacher, to be a mentor, to be a role model, to be someone that genuinely cares about your child.
Whenever I felt like I wasn't really fitting in, she just made sure everyone fit in.
Dunn students say she had a lot of big plans, and their plan to carry them out in her honor. Well, this is a situation that the troubleshooters have been following. Kentucky juvenile justice leaders say there is a concern more detention centers across the state will reach their capacity. The new commissioner of Kentucky's Department of Juvenile Justice, Randy White, told state lawmakers he expects recently passed laws to lead to more young people being incarcerated. Right now, there are about 400 kids in various facilities around the state. White says recent pay raises have helped the department hire more than 140 workers, but that might not be enough if there's a spike of new juvenile detainees.
We've taken a look at our bed space and we think that we can manage those, but it's going to be a squeeze. But we're going to have to take a look at providing more mental health and more treatment opportunities for these offenders coming in.
These concerns come as the U.S. Department of Justice investigates Kentucky's juvenile justice system. Federal investigators are looking into claims the WAVE troubleshooters have been reporting on for years, including riots, assaults, extensive isolation for inmates, and more. At tonight's Metro Council meeting, members are expected to conduct final votes on contracts for Louisville police and fire departments. The city and the police union previously agreed to a new 4-year contract that includes a 22% raise over the 4-year agreement and new accountability measures. The new deal would also institute a change in record keeping that would require supervisors to take regular notes on an officer's performance or conduct. These notes could be accessed during an investigation. LMPD's chief says this contract is needed to attract and retain more officers. Right now, the department is about 260 officers short. The chief says the pay raise will attract officers back to LMPD who left for other jobs. Also expected for a final ratifying vote tonight, the city of Louisville and a union representing LFD firefighters previously approved 5-year contract. It would finalize new wages, hours, and other benefits for firefighters. The Louisville Firefighters Union voted down a different proposed contract earlier this year by just 11 votes. We spoke to the union president when that first contract was rejected. He told us some union members were disappointed by the 5-year length, which is the same length as the current offer moving forward. A New Albany adult club is suing to stop a zoning decision that could force the club to shut down. Our partners at the News and Tribune reporting the business named Club for Play is challenging the decision by the New Albany Board of Zoning. The board says the club is violating a zoning law that does not allow an adult entertainment establishment in a mixed-use corridor. The city says the club's playrooms on the second floor fit the definition of an adult booth. Club members say private rooms do not offer any kind of performance or entertainment. The free application for federal student aid is months behind schedule. A new rollout made the process easier and more people eligible for financial aid, but it also delayed aid packages by several months. After the rollout, applications have decreased, and now a new campaign across Kentucky is helping students through the process with weekly financial sessions.
We can get them through it, we can support them, and so we want them to still have a place that they can go to where they know they can get assistance. It is slower this year, but we're still encouraging them to get the process done so that they don't have to put their post-secondary goals on hold.
A listing of all locations for financial sessions can be found on the KHEEA website. That is Kentucky, that's KY, goes to college.com. The first LGBTQ Kentucky Historical Highway marker in Louisville will be unveiled at 5:30 this evening. It's happening at the intersection of St. James Court and Belgravia Court. The plaque will commemorate 2 important events in Louisville's LGBTQ history from 1970. That includes the founding of the Louisville Gay Liberation Front and the nation's first lesbian marriage trial, Jones versus Hallahan. Mickey Schickel Nelson, a founding member of the LGLF, will speak at that unveiling too. Here is Tawana taking us through our Thursday.
And over the next 12 hours, we'll be dealing with more sunshine, but right now seeing some of that fog showing up in parts of Wave Country, including in Starlight, Indiana. So please be careful as you're heading out. As we head over the next 12 hours, getting rid of that fog this morning, plenty of sunshine this afternoon, highs today in the 80s. As we look ahead, there are a few rain chances here and there. I'll let you know when we could see some of these downpours after the break.
New on Sunrise at 6:40, severe weather turned deadly in Livonia, Michigan this week. Olivia tells us about the young child killed in this Wave News Alert.
Shannon, that victim of the severe weather was just 2 years old. The 2-year-old boy died and his mother was hospitalized in critical condition after a tree crashed through the roof of their home. The storm uprooted multiple trees in the area, including the massive 4-trunk tree that fell through the bedroom onto the bed where the mother and her baby were lying, and it pinned them underneath. Authorities say crews worked tirelessly for over an hour, removing parts of the tree and lifting that tree with high pressurized airbags to free the victims. The 2-year-old boy was pronounced dead there at the scene. There was a 2-week-old in a crib in a separate room, along with the grandmother, who was not injured but transported to the hospital for evaluation. Shannon.
Sad. Olivia, thanks. New on Sunrise, a shipment of fake Ozempic vials are out of circulation after being seized at Customs and Border Protection in Cincinnati. Officers found injection pens containing Ozempic while inspecting a freight from Colombia. The FDA says the type 2 diabetes drug can't be imported into the U.S. The shipments were scheduled to be delivered to New York, Massachusetts, and Texas. If the shipments were real, it would have been valued at nearly $900,000. Well, 48 days away from the Olympics. Pickleball, not a sanctioned event just yet, but you can feel like a champion for Kosair for Kids, and you play in a very fun event this weekend. Josh Ninke's at the Good Bounce Pickleball Yard with more, and this is going on all day long on Saturday.
That's right, Shannon. It should be a whole bunch of fun. I've been getting an education this morning. I know we've talked a little bit about the rules and how they can be a little complicated for new beginners, but I've got Amy here to at least explain the kitchen to us. So, Amy, what is the kitchen and how does this work?
So it's actually called the non-volley zone.
Okay.
Volley is a ball that's popped up that takes out of the air.
Yeah.
And so this area is, you are not allowed to volley or take a ball out of the air in this area, but everybody knows it as the kitchen. That's the slang term. The rules are, I can't have my toes on the line, and I can't let my momentum carry me in. What I see with beginners mostly is they'll see a high juicy ball run in, they'll hit the ball, and they'll run right through.
Yeah.
And their momentum has carried them in. You can't even stop yourself from falling in.
Yeah.
This is, and everybody says, well, then what happens if a ball lands? You come in, let it bounce, hit it, and then I'm immediately getting out.
Nice. Well, let's play a little bit. And Chris, with Kosair for Kids, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, so nothing too hard here.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and serve to you. Is that all right,
You
Josh?
go for it, yeah.
All
so
right.
what all the folks need to know about this this Saturday's event? Because it sounds like a lot of fun.
Well, the primary thing they need to know is they don't have to be very good to help Kosair Kids. The Kosair for Kids Pickleball Classic presented by Veland is from 8 to 8 here at Good Bounce on Saturday. It's $50 to play. You can go to kosair.org/pickle and register now. We have some spots still available, so hopefully you can do that. And Amy was explaining the rules. We'll have people out here explaining the rules, so you don't have to be an expert at the sport. But if you're an expert at the sport, you're more likely going to win a medal.
Have a really fun celebrity section as well?
Yes, we have a celebrity section. We have mixed doubles. We have singles. So we have a lot of different categories for you to play in. All you got to do is come out here and take part in it. It's 8 to 8 Saturday. We also have a family fun fest. We're going to have food trucks and a petting zoo and bounce houses, and you're making me run on TV. And wow, this is fun. But we're going to have a lot of fun. Kosair.org/pickle is where you go to register.
Perfect.
And just think of the joy you're going to be bringing to Kosair Kids. We help more than 260,000 kids a year through our programs, through medical bills that we help pay, and research, education,
so a great
social
cause.
Services, child advocacy,
and a lot of fun. Like I said, going on Saturday. We'll have more information for you, wave3.com. So
go ahead, smash it, Josh.
Oh, there we go. Live here at Good Bounce Pickleball Yard. Josh Ninke, Wave News.
Good job, Josh. Well done. And that was hard for Chris from Kosair for Kids to be playing and talking and thinking.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly impressed.
That's pretty good.
Okay, I guess we need to get out there to play some pickleball, right?
Yeah, how's the weather?
Actually great for today for that. And even into this weekend, as we have all these events going on, some great weather, but some rain is in the forecast. Let you know when it's going to show up in just 30 seconds. Good morning, everyone. Meteorologist Juana Andrew here with the check of your forecast. And for today, what we have going on, a little bit of that patchy fog. Seeing it quite clearly on our SkyTrack camera in Starlight, Indiana. The sun is over the horizon, but not seeing much of it because of the fog in this area. And this is just one of a few spots dealing with some of this patchy fog this morning. Seeing visibility down to half a mile towards Paoli, seeing visibility down to a mile in portions of Clark County, and even seeing some of that patchy fog from near Bardstown towards Lebanon. Remember, our sensors aren't in every location, so a lot of this patchy fog will be in those spots that we saw the rain overnight and yesterday, plus near those bodies of water this morning. So just be extra careful. Our skies are clear. We have, of course, that leftover moisture from the rain that we saw in the past 24 hours and light winds. All three of those things are the reason why we have the fog across our region this morning. But for those of you not dealing with fog, you're just getting to enjoy plenty of sunshine. While we did have a front moving through earlier this morning, we have another one off towards our northwest, and that front is going to be the reason that we have some cooler air coming our way to round out the work week. Temperatures right now mainly in the 60s and low 70s, so another warm and muggy start to the day. Once we get further towards 7, 8 o'clock, whatever fog that we are dealing with still going to be long gone at that point for most of us. And towards lunch, a few clouds overhead, watching as a cold front sweeps through for this afternoon. A couple of isolated downpours, for most of us just seeing a few extra clouds, and that is it. Highs today jumping into the mid to even upper 80s in some spots. Then as we head into the evening, still keeping an eye on that small rain chance here and there. Temperatures falling down into the 50s overnight with clear skies across the region. In the metro, we could see lows mainly near 60 degrees. So overall today, not looking too shabby. For tomorrow, behind that front, I mentioned the cooler air coming in, only talking about highs for your Friday in the upper 70s and the low 80s. Plenty of blue sky and sunshine for tomorrow. Now, once we head into the weekend, we do have to keep an eye on some extra clouds rolling in. Of course, we have that amazing event with Corsair for Kids on Saturday, and we also have Lou City playing on Saturday, so a lot of events going on across the region, but you want to make sure you're keeping an eye on the radar because another system will be moving in late Saturday into Sunday, bringing some more of these showers back into our region then. So Sunday morning could be a little bit damp and wet in some spots, but once we get into Sunday afternoon, that front continues to sink further to the south, taking all the rain and a lot of those clouds with it. Now, behind that system, Monday still looking very pleasant with highs mainly in the 70s. Not too shabby. But then we get towards the end of next week. And for those of you who love that summer-like heat, here you go. This is my gift to you. We could see some of those highs by the end of next week in the upper 80s and the low 90s. So pretty decent temperature roller coaster coming our way over the next 10 days.
Thanks, Tawana. Today marks the 80th anniversary of D-Day, the largest military invasion by sea in history. D-Day is known as the beginning of the end of World War II. On June 6th, 1944, about 150,000 Allied troops stormed the beach of Normandy in Nazi-occupied France. The troops took on about 50,000 German forces in the amphibious operation. 10,000 lives were lost. But the offensive was a turning point in the war. It led to the liberation of Western Europe from Germany less than a year later. This year's anniversary is likely the last major commemoration D-Day veterans, now nearing 100 years old, will attend. President Joe Biden is in Normandy to commemorate the anniversary. And in recognition of this, the Kentucky Veterans Program Trust Fund is sponsoring the World War II B-25 bomber, Miss Mitchell, to fly World War II veterans for free. It's happening today at Bowman Field. Veterans will board flights from the old terminal building on Taylorsville Road at 11:30 this morning, also 1:30, 3:30, and 5:30. The Kilroy chapter of the MVPA will also give veterans rides in Jeeps and other military vehicles throughout the day. How special is that? 6:49 right now. Let's go to Olivia for a look at the big stories we're following from around the country and the world.
Suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann is expected to be indicted on 2 new murder charges today. The expected new murder charges come after investigators searched an area of Long Island where the remains of 2 alleged victims were found more than 2 decades ago. Investigators also recently searched his home. Heuermann has already been charged with the murder of 4 women known as the Gilgo 4. He's pleaded not guilty to all 4. The World Health Organization is reporting the first human death linked to the bird flu. It was a 59-year-old person in Mexico. They had multiple underlying medical conditions and had been bedridden for 3 weeks for other reasons. Then in mid-April, they developed a fever, shortness of breath, diarrhea, nausea, and weakness, later dying from that infection. It's still not known exactly how that person contracted it. The World Health Organization says the risk to the general public from H5N2 is low. And a question here, is sugar the new tobacco? Some public health officials say sugar and its harmful effects on our health should be spelled out for consumers on a warning label, just like the ones on cigarette packages. Ahead this morning on Today, everything families need to know about sugar consumption when it comes to health and wellness, as there's a growing call for labeling about sugar content. Those are some of your top headlines. Shannon will have more local news coming up in your Wake Up Watch list.
These are the top stories we're following in today's Wake Up Watch list. Louisville neighborhoods repeatedly targeted with what appears to be organized thefts, and residents are frustrated. Police trying to pursue say their hands are tied. This security footage shows some men who appear to be armed trying to get in the back door of a home in Norton Commons. People say they've been told by LMPD the no pursuit policy makes it difficult for LMPD. LMPD says their 8th Division is aware of the uptick in break-ins, and they have focused patrols in the area. They're reminding people to lock their homes, lock their cars. JCPS families, today's an important deadline regarding your child's transportation for the next school year. Today is the deadline for that transportation survey. The district says they need that so they can begin plotting out the bus routes. JCPS says you can find all the information you need on their social media. The Office for Safe and Healthy Neighborhoods will announce more information about this year's Safe Summer Kickoff today. They say it's a way to give people in the metro somewhere to do free, family-oriented activities. This year will be unique, with Ocean giving funding to neighborhood-based nonprofits to plan the event. They'll have more details during a press conference today at 11. Here's Tawana taking a look at the Thursday, and how long will this patchy fog stick around?
Well, as we head over the next hour to 2 hours, it's going to gradually mix out. Already seeing improvements on our camera in Starlight, Indiana. So for some of you, seeing already that mixing happening, but others, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Overall, that patchy fog will be an issue for many of us as you're hitting the roads this morning. Temperatures starting off the day in the upper 60s and low 70s, ending up in the 80s for your highs this afternoon, with plenty of sunshine throughout the entire day. As we look ahead to the next 10 days, we do have some cooler weather around for tomorrow behind a front that moves in later on today. And we could see a couple of spotty showers as we head into the weekend, especially Saturday night into Sunday morning is the current timing we have. So more of that warm weather showing up by the end of next week.
Hey, with all that fog this morning, if you're headed out, maybe take it easy a little bit. Not affecting any traffic out there this morning, though. Things are starting to slow down at 64 headed eastbound right before you get to the Sherman-Minton Bridge. And then on the Gene Snyder there headed northbound just before you get to 64. A little bit slow, but hey, our Metro traffic cameras not showing any major slowdowns with our speeds. You still see that semi stopped on the side of I-65 at the Snyder. And I don't know what's going on at 64 in Floyd County, but hey, like we said, it's moving okay, just a little bit slow.
I couldn't see it. What
because there was no camera.
That makes sense. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Get live streaming news, 24-hour weather, investigations, podcasts, and more. All for free with Wave Now. Watch on Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and the Wave News app.